sacred moment that created the miracle of life. Not by just chance, but part of a grander plan. I had to awaken to understand just who I am. I am built to walk in each step I take. I spread the light every day with the faith that moves mountains, standing strong even when the ground shakes. I am built in the image of the one true love, with the power of unconditional love, to be fearless and follow a heart divinely made. I am built that way. This part unseen, living inside of me, through hands of creation, a spark released. Oh, now I believe I am built to walk in each step I take. I spread the light every day with the faith that moves mountains, standing strong even when the ground shakes. I am built in the image of the one true love, with the power of unconditional love, to be fearless and follow a heart divinely made. I am built that way. The greatest thing I've come to realize is that there's way more to me than meets the eye. I am built to walk every step I take. I spread the light every day with the faith that moves mountains, standing strong. So let the ground shake. Whoa, I am built in the image of the one true love, with the power of unconditional love, to be fearless and follow a heart divinely made. I am built that way. Yeah, I am built that way.
That was Amanda Hagel's new song, Built That Way. It was a slow writing process, a slow cooked song that you've been working on for a couple of years. And since the time we first spoke, actually almost a year ago, you've been working on music and doing different things, including a beautiful cover of John Denver's Country Road and other things. Welcome back to Journeys in Melody.
Oh, thanks so much for having me back. I was excited when I got the call that I was going to come and talk to you today. So this is going to be a great and inspiring conversation. I'm excited.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Amanda is an inspirational country music artist from Saskatchewan, Canada. She hasn't left. She's decided to stay in Saskatchewan and, of course, traveled and came back right there to her roots. And so she's here to talk about her music. I'm not going to tell anybody about the song. I want you to tell us where the song came from and what inspired it.
Wow. It's so new that, just the talking points as I was reflecting on what I was going to say about the song to introduce it. I mean, I am always a big believer that, the music will speak to each person that's meant to listen to it in its own unique way. And I know that this song will do the same thing as all the other songs that came before it. But as you said, I began writing it a couple of years ago. And at that time, I didn't really know the significance. Sometimes I do right off the hop. I know exactly, why the song is meant to be written, and the inspiration kind of reveals that. But this song kind of came in segments. It was first the concept of being built in a certain image. And at first, actually, I was going to write it from the reflection of, my upbringing in the country. I was actually going to formulate it around country living and that essence of purity of being from the prairies. But, my heart was calling me to go deeper. And so the song began to unfold in a way that I wanted to try to remind people through the lyrics about the fact that we're more than human, and the fact that we are this divine, beautiful spark of the Creator, of God. And so that's kind of where the song ended up. And, there were beautiful lines that had come in the most profound ways through the writing. I remember laying in a hotel room one morning. My husband and I had gone out of town, and we were on this little vacation. And the line, with a faith that moves mountains, standing strong even when the ground shakes, that came through early in the morning. And it was, I had to turn the light on and write it down, because, these are the moments of reflection that I find that God will speak through me. And so it was a really interesting unfolding. And, 2 years later, here we are. And, there's a layered explanation to kind of the meaning behind the song, but that's how the song was born. And then, there were some other synchronistic moments that defined why I had to release the song at this time. So that's a good introduction, I think, to get things going today.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, a reminder of whose image we're created in, and we are built purposefully and deliberately, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and that's a wonderful reminder, especially in this society where a lot of things are superficial. That reminder to look deeper inside and recognize that you were built this way, and you're built with purpose, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us about the earlier days growing up on that farm in that rural setting in Saskatchewan.
Oh man, it seems like a lifetime ago now, and I still miss it. I get to go back once in a while. We still actually have our homestead in our family. It hasn't been sold. So I get to walk the grounds once in a while and reminisce about those days. It was such a beautiful experience to grow up in the country. If, those of the listeners and even yourself can appreciate, nature and that connection to nature. And I find that's, for me now as I get older and looking back, it's that purity and that essence of nature that, I felt the most connected really to God and to the divine. And I loved animals so much. I still do. So it was a really beautiful place, I think, to just be completely authentic and open and, just experience the immersiveness of what nature can bring. When you live in the city, that changes, right? There's a disconnect. And I try to find my way back to it just in my little garden in the yard and things like that. But, there was nothing like it. It was I was so grateful for the experience, very blessed to be born and raised in the prairies, in the country. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you gone back to record music there?
No, I haven't. But, I've gotten a lot of inspiration from that area, to be honest. A song that I released a few years ago in 2023 titled These Roots was all about that. And so I paid homage to that back then, which was really a special thing. So, I go back for inspiration, but I do the recording kind of where I am now. I have some great musicians and producers up here in Saskatoon. So
yeah, super. We haven't spoken about this before, but being the youngest of 9 siblings, how has that influenced you and shaped your character and how you do music, if at all?
Oh man. I think it has in a lot of ways. I feel like the essence of who I am as an artist, just kind of it's developed itself over the years. I feel like, it's an unfolding and I feel my journey is continuing. Like, we should all reflect on life that way, right? It's an unfolding, it's a journey, it continues on. And every day I get to experience something new and grow spiritually as a human, but also as an artist. And so for me, it's really important, I think, to recognize that, but also be open and just be in flow. That's how I look at life now. I'm just in flow and in service, really every single day. So it's an incredible unfolding. Yeah.
Yeah. As a country artist, how have you seen your music evolve over the years into this new era where there's social media and open access to everything?
Oh man, that's a good question. And isn't that the big question of any influencer, right? Yourself included. How do we reach our audiences? I find nowadays there's just so much media, and a lot of it's great, but it's incessant and it's constant. So to cut through it, I think one of the things the values that I've really developed as an artist is it's quality over quantity. Number one, so when I release music or put out any kind of post, really, my intention is very pure, and there's a specific reason for it, but I'm not doing it every single day. I decided at a certain point that I was going to be a little bit more mindful, and I'm hoping, as things move forward, and who knows where it's all going, right? That will continue, and I'll be able to kind of cut through the traffic and find those people that I'm meant to connect with. So, it's an unfolding. I don't know. There are some days, and you can probably attest to this, where, I just feel like going outside and being in nature and put my phone away. That's for sure.
Yeah. I've been learning how to put my phone away, and I've been trying. It's difficult, but, you need to put it aside to enjoy the moments. Have you been doing work into getting into mainstream US audiences?
I have been, actually. Yeah. I've been working with a company that's based out of Nashville called Aristo Media, and they do primarily music video promotion.
Yeah.
And so a number of years ago, I caught wind of them and reached out to them, and they were gracious enough to agree to work with me. And so this will be Built That Way is going to be released in their US market, and that'll be the fourth video that I've promoted with them. And one of the things I find is, videos are engaging. It's a great way to connect to an audience. People love the visual art, and they have such a big market down there that, for me, it just became kind of, what is my intention? Going back to that again, the idea for me is I just want this song to reach as many people as possible, and its message to kind of connect. And so let's just continue to find ways to get it out there. And, it's an investment for sure. But I found it to be quite successful. And, again, it's a journey, it's an unfolding, but I'm kind of divinely guided to these things too. So I trust the process of what's unfolding, and they're really good people. So I'm pretty lucky to have found them. And, we'll see how this campaign goes. I'm really excited.
Yeah. And that's it. While you remain rooted in Canada and you're here working, as you said, you want the music to reach as many persons as possible.
Yeah.
And we have found, and it's been proven, that doing something in the United States always kind of propels you forward in your artistry. So
Yes.
that's why I asked that question. Speaking of the divinely led into things, your song "These Roots" resonates deeply, and also "Calling Me," "The Believer," they lean more into kind of gospel. What prompted that evolution?
That's a good question. For me, I guess it's just the idea that, years ago I, grew up and was, raised in a faith-based home. So, that essence of God and my spirituality was always a part of my life. But it wasn't until I was probably in my early 30s that I went into an experience with mental health, right? And so for a lot of us, we've gone through those hard moments. And I was literally kind of almost taken to a place of surrender where, I had to stop looking outside of myself for answers and start looking within myself. And it was at that point, I think, that something really profound shifted. I'll call it almost like an awakening, where I discovered the essence of who I truly was. But, it's one thing to intellectually say, well, I'm a soul and I'm a human and I'm having this experience. But it's another thing to actually literally live that experience. And once that switch flipped, which it did, the lens with which I look through life now has completely shifted. When I walk out into this world now and put the art out and do all the things that I do, I'm walking in that essence of my true highest being, right? The essence of my soul, my spirit. And it wasn't until I had that experience that I made that shift. But it was a journey. Like, it took a long time to get there, but it was a profound and incredible journey. And so, for anybody who might be going through a dark time right now, just understand that you're being led there for a reason, and just embrace it, and just ask for that guidance and that help, because going within is the key to everything. And you're never the same, but the world looks different, and your life experiences change with that. And it's magical and it's amazing once you get there. But it can be difficult. So, the idea is just to surrender and to trust that there is a higher divine essence out there that's guiding you through this process, right?
Yeah, yeah. Is there a moment in your life that inspired a particular song that you've done?
Wow. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a particular, well, probably one of the most profound moments for me, through the spiritual journey and writing the music I do, as we spoke about, these newer songs that are more gospel based. There was a song that I wrote called Call on Me in 2024 that, I had the most profound experience writing it. It was a physical experience when the song actually came through, and I'd ask God for guidance in terms of, what would you like me to say to the world next? And I got this really intense download. Like, it was a physical experience that happened on a random day, right in the morning, and I'll never forget it. And I feel like, those inspirational moments come now, but that was probably one of the most profound. But it really grounded me, and it helped me center myself around the fact that, for all of us, for each of us, there is a mission, there is a divine purpose. And if we align with that and just surrender, again, there's that word surrender, to the idea that we are going to be guided and led, and that, it's very unique. Everybody's mission is unique, and it's so important. There's no one person that's more important than the other here. But for me, that was one of those like moments that I'll never forget. I don't know if it'll ever happen again, but it comes in different forms, right? So I'm just so grateful I had that experience. Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about songwriting, and this latest song that you wrote, it was over a few months that it really marinated in your soul, and you took your time to write it, and now you're releasing it. Is there a different type of process, or is that usually how things generally happen for you?
Most of the time it is a slow unfolding. And I think maybe indirectly I'm kind of asking for that, because honestly, as an artist and a songwriter, like, I savor the experience of what's going to come next. So when songs come quickly, as I mentioned, Call on Me came pretty fast. But Built That Way was different. It unfolded over the course of time. And I think part of that now, when I look back, was the timing of when it was going to be released. I didn't know that reason yet. And I didn't really, talk about that earlier as we were speaking. But, I got the message after the song was written that, this is going to be centered around a time when the world is being transformed through AI, through artificial intelligence and technology. And so maybe there is a profound kind of message like this that needs to come through to remind us that as this technological age comes in full force, we need to remind ourselves of who we really are and let that be our guiding light moving forward, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
I feel like I was given those messages in a couple different ways, and it was quite striking what ended up happening in the months before, I recorded the song, just to define the fact that, okay, Amanda, this is it now. This is the time. And yeah, we know last year is when they introduced, ChatGPT and all the different forums that we are using now. And now it's just going like crazy, right? So this is it. And this is the message. And I feel it's so, so important for us right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is something that many people are grappling with. I have welcomed AI in many ways. How do you view AI? Because you have non-singers who are good songwriters, who are writing songs. They drop them into whatever AI app, and it creates this sound and this image of a person who isn't real, and the music is out there. How do you view AI as it relates to the art and music today?
That's a good question, and such an important talking point for the message of the song right now. Yeah, for sure. At first I was probably like a lot of people, I was a little bit hesitant, and, my intuition said, okay, you need to just sit back and just let this unfold and just be very mindful of what's being introduced. But I always have been like that with everything in life. I like to sit with things a little bit before I jump in with both feet. So, I recognize now that, this advancing technology is going to be a part of our future. Of course it is. And I think it's going to be incredible. it's always how it's used, right? It's always, the creator's intention about how it's going to be used and in our own lives and then collectively in the world. So, one of the things I think about when I compare, AI, like you're saying, this generated, music and different media and stuff like that with the authentic stuff from the creators of us, the essence of us as creators is, to define what these characteristics of being divine are. And I've thought about that a lot. I've listened to a lot of inspiring people talk about that as well. And one of the things I think about is one of the greatest divine characteristics of being a soul, being a spirit, and being created in the image of God is he gave us this beautiful imagination and creativity. Like there's no artificial intelligence that can replace that, right? When you think about it really deeply. And the other characteristics of just having this idea that we can be innovative, but we can also, love unconditionally. We can forgive. And we can even heal our own bodies. I mean, I'm a fitness girl, so that part of it, to me, that's a whole nother segue into a whole other part of the conversation. But, when you look at these characteristics that God has given us, this magic that is us, I think it's really important that we balance the two. I know that AI is going to be a part of it. It can be used as a tool, as you're saying. We're just gonna move forward, and if we move forward in that essence of who we are every day, I think we'll be okay. Yeah.
I think many persons misunderstand what AI is. People think it will replace human beings. No, right. As you mentioned, it's a tool. And as with other advancements in the past, we have to get accustomed to it, understand the usage of it, and use it to improve the things that we're doing, because it will never replace the real soul of a person. Right?
Exactly.
So that's the good thing and the understanding that people need to have about it.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the essence of it all right there. That's the message. Yeah.
I want to talk about the other side of your life and how that, if it filters into the music or music filters into it, the training, the fitness and training part of it. But I wanted to play this beautiful cover of John Denver's Country Road that you did, and then we'll come back and we talk some more.
Sure.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gathered round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted in the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, been home yesterday, yesterday. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mount Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home.
That was your lovely cover of Country Road, and it's a beloved, well-known song that is known internationally. What went behind selecting this one to cover?
Well, it was honestly, I don't know if there was ever really a conscious thought to say someday I'm gonna, record "Take Me Home, Country Roads." It was actually during, the years where, we were all kind of locked down and, couldn't go out much and stuff during the COVID years. So I was just kind of playing around with different songs that I thought maybe I could add to my set list for performances. And I kind of started playing that song in that key and that arrangement, and started playing it a little bit at acoustic shows, and kind of got comfortable with it and thought, maybe someday I will record this song. And it just happened that the gentleman you saw playing the drums, he was also the producer, Hal Schrank. Him and I had a discussion one day about it, and he said, well, if you ever want to record that song, I'd love to be the producer. And so I finally called him up and said, hey, let's do this. I haven't released cover songs for quite a few years. I have a whole album of cover songs that I've remade and reimagined, but it just felt like maybe it was the right time to kind of segue out of the original music and give people something fresh and new. And, like I said, this song's been redone so many times, but I hope we did it justice in a way that, it just brings out the essence and the beauty of the song, because it's such a gorgeously written song. And, I think we did okay. Like, I do feel like, I feel the emotion of it when I listen to it now. So
When I heard it, I think it's beautifully done. That's coming from me. It's beautifully done. And I love how you slowed it down and put some soul into it.
Yeah.
What really goes behind doing someone else's music as an independent artist?
Well, the first thing that I always intend for when I'm, choosing a song, cover song, is, I never want to make the song my own in any way. I want to pay homage to the song, the songwriter. And like I said, I'll repeat that again, the essence and the beauty of the song is what I want to suss out. That's what I want to bring out, to pay respect to the songwriter and to the creators, and, kind of make it fresh again, because that song was released so long ago, back in the 70s, I think it was, so early 70s. So, it's nice. Yeah, it gets kind of renewed fresh in the modern era, and the message continues, the feeling continues. And it's a fun thing. Obviously John Denver's a beloved, artist, and always will be. So I think he'd be okay with our rendition, I hope.
Yeah, I think it would be too. So aside from music, you are a fitness trainer and you own A-Team Training. Is there a link between music and fitness?
Absolutely. Over the course of the last few years, actually it's going to be 3 years in August, I started to put out little videos on my social media weekly that I call them Workout Wednesday videos. And so I decided I was just going to showcase that aspect of my life for, my viewing audience and people who wanted to check it out. Wellness has been such an integral part of my path. I was an athlete when I was younger in volleyball and university and college. And so that carried me through. I've always loved fitness. And, just now I think there's been a depth and kind of a growth in the fact that, wellness to me it's not just physical, right? It's mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And, the essence of taking care of our physical vessels is just as important as everything else. So, the spiritual journey, the wellness journey, it's all intertwined. And, to be the best and the highest version of me means I first need to take care of my vessel, this beautiful gift that God has given us to be animated on this planet at this time. And, that's how I look at the body. I actually developed a really beautiful relationship, I think, and respect and love and admiration for my body over the course of, the last even decade. That's grown. And, it's interesting because when you think about the modern era and how we're kind of almost pitted against our bodies to some degree, right? Especially after a certain point and a certain age, we kind of have this attitude. I think we need to reconnect to it. And Built That Way is, I think, the new song is also kind of a reflection of that. It's this, the sacred, beautiful vessel that we've got. We need to remind ourselves that that's, it's important to take care of it. So yeah, fitness has been amazing. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me focused. It keeps me healthy. And it's such a privilege to be able to help others, the clients that I serve in that way as well. So I love the two aspects. And again, there's no coincidences. It's all serendipitous that I ended up in both of these categories, fitness and music. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right, because physical well-being is linked to mental well-being, and then all of that is linked to spiritual well-being, and then your ability to do creative things. So that's very, very true. Let's talk about some of your career highlights. Recently, you were featured in the Searchlight finalist and international songwriting recognition as well. I wanted to talk about that one, the songwriting. I think it was a third placement in that competition. Talk to us about that.
That was that was a really kind of a cool moment. I got to admit, once in a while I'll throw certain songs in the ring for big competitions internationally, and this one in particular I've submitted songs for in the past and received some honorable mentions, which has been great. But I actually this past year, I put out a submission for Call on Me, and I got the word back that it received a third place finish. And I don't know how many entries there are in contests like that, but it was a pretty cool moment because as a songwriter, I don't do it for the recognition in that sense, but when there is a panel of people who are at the top of their craft as songwriters, well respected, written #1 best-selling books on whatever songwriting and all this kind of stuff, and they're critiquing that music. And they're sending me private messages and emails saying, great song, congratulations. That means a lot, because it's been a lot of years since I've been honing the craft and really going deeper into the writing and, again, channeling those messages through. So I was pretty humbled and honored to receive that award. And, again, it's not for that, but I'm really happy that song received the recognition it did, for sure.
Yeah, and I get it, because you're putting a lot of hours into it, a lot of love into it, and you're putting out music, and then for other people, complete strangers, to come back and say, hey, we love what you wrote and we want to recognize you. It's a good feeling, obviously.
Very.
But yeah, but when you're not doing it for that, and then that comes back, the rewards come back, absolutely. It's encouraging. Your music is deeply that's one of the things I love about the music. It's uplifting and it's empowering, right? What impact do you hope listeners will have as your music goes far and wide?
That's a great question. Well, I think, for me, the most important thing is that, again, I go back to the idea that I don't have any control over who's going to hear the song or when, and one of the things that I love about art now and the modern era, we're talking about technology, I can put a song out and it can just sit, on a platform, and one day, months, years, whatever it is, down the road, somebody could, it's that timing, right? Where they find that song and it changes them in a profound way, or it speaks to them in a profound way. And, that's kind of one of the things that I love the most about the fact that I get to be an artist who puts music out into the world and just lets it do its work. But, the biggest thing for me is that people connect to it on a deeper level. Music as an art form has such power, not just lyrically, but sound wise. Like, I talk about sound a lot because, that vibration, that essence of that vibration will go out and ripple out and just continue on. And for people to connect to it on that level, I think, I don't know on the surface what it's doing for them in terms of how it impacts them and maybe changes them, but I know how music has influenced me and certain songs have spoken to me. So I can only hope that my music does the same for others, and that, it helps them in some way. And we're all in this thing together called life. So let's keep her
Yes, we
going.
are.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are, certainly. And so many persons are lost and they're seeking to find their way back. And it's sometimes difficult. And it's not one song that they come in touch with on YouTube or wherever. And it kind of brings them back to center and helps them to keep going. So that's actually beautiful. Somebody who is hearing you for the first time, and they're just being introduced to your music, what's the one message that you want your music to convey to them?
That's another good question. I think for me, the most important thing is, that the music that I write is spoken from the deepest part of me, the essence of my soul and my spirit. And I would hope that in that moment of them listening to the music, that we would connect on that level. I think a big part of my mission now, moving forward as things are evolving, is, I'm called to remind people of that connection, not just, person to person or, even God, the connection to God, but just the connection to our inner being, right? Because that's the gateway through which we are connected to the Creator. And so, if that would be a message that I would want people to know, is that when you listen to my music and you kind of immerse yourself in the songs as they unfold, I would hope that would spark something within you, at a certain point, because I truly feel that's my mission. That's what I'm meant to do. So,
What other project? I know it's fresh. You're going to be having this music in circulation, this particular song, Built That Way. What other project are you working on right now?
well, I'm hoping to I've got, again, we're talking about, trying to kind of create the perfect formula for how we, as artists, how we, distribute our music and what we do here. So singles are obviously a very popular way to release new music, but I'm hoping to kind of bring a few more songs into the recording studio in the next probably year or so, and finish them to basically put out another album with the songs I've currently released as singles included in that. I think it's time for a compilation to put it all together. So I'm going to slowly work on that. I've got 3 more songs that are ready to go, are beautiful and ready to be recorded at any time. So that should probably take care of that. And so we'll let that unfold. But other than that, I've got a Christmas concert series coming up in the fall and into early winter, and around my neck of the woods here in Saskatchewan. So looking forward to bringing the music to some different audiences in different towns, and that'll keep me busy. I mean, you know how it is. You blink and a month is over. So, we'll enjoy this experience right now of releasing Built That Way. But there's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming up. It'll keep me busy, that's for sure.
It's funny that you mentioned Christmas. I was going to ask you if you have anything planned for Christmas this year, and you answered it. Congrats again on this new release, Build That Way. And I hope and pray that you will get more and more and more attention to your music, and you will continue to grow. Thank you so much for joining me again and talking about.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you, and congrats on building such a cool podcast and platform for people like me to come on and share our stories and inspiring moments. And it's a joy. It's a really blessing and a joy to be on the show, and I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Awesome. And you helped me to build this too, because without people like you, then it would not be so joyful to do. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.